Good afternoon, African Kingdom. Another key decision late Sunday night coming in from another court, U.S. District Court in the United States, this time in Portland, Oregon. Judge Karen Immergut, she's actually a Trump appointee. She had previously placed a temporary injunction preventing the Trump administration, the Quad D administration, from deploying National Guard members to the city of Portland. Okay, she actually extended that order for another 5 days until she makes her final decision, which looks like she is going to permanently block National Guard members from being sent to Portland. Again, we have peaceful protests, mostly peaceful protests and demonstrations occurring right now in the city of Portland. And she claims that the federal government has not provided evidence that shows that the National Guard must be deployed in Portland. She also said that the attempts at deploying the National Guard in Portland likely violate the 10th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. So stay tuned. She expects to have her final decision this Friday at the end of the week during this first week of November. But it looks like her blockage of the National Guard in the city of Portland is going to end up being permanent. Doesn't look like there's anything that the Quad D administration can do to avoid this decision other than wait for the Supreme Court to rule on the issue of National Guard deployment in American cities. But again, the next set of arguments, even in the Supreme Court, is scheduled for November 10th. And then each side actually has another week to reply and counter the arguments made by both the federal government and cities like the city of Chicago. So another temporary victory. And yes, Quad D hasn't been able to deploy the National Guard to cities like Chicago, and in limited fashion. It doesn't sound like it at all, actually, in the city of Portland, despite the Supreme Court attempting to give him a temporary victory by temporarily allowing it. But again, the Supreme Court just ruled last week he could not deploy the National Guard in Chicago while they weigh this emergency order. So stay tuned. But another victory this time.
They're all liberal judges.
No, this is not a liberal judge. This is actually a Trump appointee in Portland. But another temporary victory for the United States, for democracy, and for defenders of our civil rights and liberties, and the right not to be monitored and consistently watched by members of the National Guard and military. So another victory. We've got to celebrate the temporary victories. But it looks like the National Guard members in Portland are going to be permanently blocked from being deployed across the city. Oh, yeah, by the way, Republicans, release the files. Swear Adelita Grijalva in and release the Schmepstein files, please.